Peter's going to be joined by a lady, Anna Jenkins, who was only 34 years old when she was diagnosed with terminal metastatic pancreatic cancer. Anna is bravely coming up to sit with Peter and tell her story. So can we give Anna, please, a huge round of applause?
Thank you, Pat. Welcome, Anna.
Thank you.
You feeling okay?
Yes.
Not nervous?
Thank you. Not nervous at all.
No, you are, I know.
I've got my tissue ready, so I'm fine.
Well, why don't you, instead of me telling your story, why don't you tell the 400 people in this room your story?
Well, on the 13th of January back in 2021, my now husband Brendan proposed to me on what I'm led to believe was his fourth attempt, I think. He'd had the ring for about 2 or 3 months. He was waiting for the right moment to propose, apparently, but that right moment ended up just being on our couch, feeding our 18-month-old in the high chair sitting next to me. But it was beautiful, it was perfect. And then literally the next day was when I officially received my cancer diagnosis. So I have metastatic pancreatic cancer, a very rare type of pancreatic cancer. I have a neuroendocrine tumour, and it's spread everywhere all throughout my body, so it's too late to do surgery or anything like that. So I'm just on treatment to prolong my life as much as we can, I guess. And so I guess what should have been a really amazing time, we just got engaged, we were planning on when we were going to have our second child, everything was just completely turned upside down because now it was just scans, tests, doctor's appointments, IVF, everything. Like, it was just such a roller coaster as well. And we didn't even give our wedding a second thought for such a long time.
So what was your dream?
So my dream was to have a wedding. So basically it came about, I was sitting in my oncologist waiting room, and there's a wall in front of me with all these pamphlets, and so I'm up there grabbing all these really depressing pamphlets like how to tell your kids about cancer and your diet and cancer and how to exercise with cancer. And then there's a really nice pamphlet with a couple getting married on the front, and so I thought, well, I'm engaged, I'll grab this pamphlet. And so I took it home, and maybe a few weeks later I applied online, and literally it was like...
To Dreams to Live For.
To Dreams to Live For. And it was so easy, I didn't have to jump through a million hoops or anything. And then
What did you say when you applied? What was your message to hope to get the dream granted?
It was very emotional. It was hard because I wasn't applying for me. I was applying for my fiancé and my son, because these were memories that, let's be honest, I'm not going to have, but they're memories that they will be able to have. And getting married was very important to my husband. It was something that he had wanted for a long time, so it was my way of kind of granting his wish.
And how did it eventuate?
So Louise, on the table down here, called me very, very quickly after my application.
Louise is the boss of Dreams to Live For?
Yes, a dream maker, we call her. And she makes dreams come true. So she called and just said, well, when is this wedding? And I said, we haven't even set a date. Like, it's not on the top of our mind, yeah. And so having that conversation with Louise actually gave me, I guess, the hope and the drive to think, okay, well, let's plan a wedding, let's do this. And so we set a date, and it was about 5 months or so away at that time. And that's what we started planning for. And that was, having that wedding to plan for was just such a huge shift, not only for me, but also my partner, my parents, my friends, my work colleagues, everyone, because it gave me something else to think about. It gave other people something else to talk to me about. And I can't overestimate how good it is to have something else to think about. I literally think about my cancer 24/7.
And I said to you today, when I first met you, I
Yeah.
said, gee, you look beautiful. You look, and as soon as I said it, I realised that that's probably what a lot of people say to you.
Yes.
You look well,
Yes.
you look beautiful, but you're not well. You
No.
are beautiful.
Thank you.
But
As are you.
thank you. But in all seriousness, you told me you don't look the way you feel.
No. So the most common conversation that I will have with people, and I don't want to make people scared to say the wrong thing to someone who has cancer or any other illness. I think talking about it and asking people how they're feeling is a good thing. But typically the conversation will go, okay, this is what treatment I'm having, this is what side effects I'm having because of my treatment, this is the latest results of my scan, or maybe I'm having a lot of anxiety about a scan that's coming up, and they'll listen really well, and then the conversation ends with, well, you're looking really good though.
Yeah, and that doesn't help, does it?
It doesn't help. It's a compliment, and I know that it's a compliment, but it leaves me feeling or thinking, do I not look sick enough, or am I actually not sick enough? And then that leads to, okay, well, there are more people sicker than me, or there are people out there that are sicker than me, that look sicker than me, and that maybe deserve more help and support than what I do. And so things like applying for Dreams to Live For, like I said, I didn't feel like I deserved that dream, but I think my husband did and my child did, so I did it for them. I don't feel like, it is a compliment, but it makes you just constantly question, like, am I sick enough? But I guess I have to face the reality that one day those compliments will stop, and that will mean that I do actually look as sick as I feel, and I don't want that day to come yet, so.
Has the dream come true? Have you had your wedding day?
Yes.
And how was it, changing the subject?
It was, in a word, magical. So it was a year ago to 2 weeks and a year ago today. It was just magical. It was perfect. Nothing went wrong. I don't know if that's ever happened at a wedding before, but absolutely nothing went wrong. The celebrant was amazing. The photographer was amazing. All the kids walking down the aisle did a great job. It was beautiful. And the location where we had it on the Central Coast, which is where I live, it's really bushy and leafy, and it was in autumn, so there's all these autumn leaves on the ground, and the kids were running around, and they were saying that it was like they were running through like a fairy garden. And then we wanted to send all the kids home for the reception so that we could enjoy their evening. But before we sent all the kids home, our little boy really likes to dance. So the very first thing that we did when we walked into the reception was have just a really big dance party. We had 3 songs play, and no one sat down. Literally everyone was on that dance floor, and my son was on my husband's shoulders in the middle of it dancing, and that is something that I will remember forever. My whole friends and family will just, it's an image like burnt in your brain, and it's a beautiful memory.
That's young Jack, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah,
Jack.
young Jack. And that's all because of Dreams to Live For.
Absolutely. So when I say we only had about 5 months to plan, if I didn't have cancer, we probably would have had 1 or 2 more kids, maybe saved for a wedding for 5 years or so. It wouldn't have been as urgent. And then when you have doctors say to you, you should probably plan your wedding sooner rather than later, we decided to set the date to be when I had finished radiation, because that was when I was supposed to feel well again after radiation. So yeah, when we only had 5 months to plan and save, we were really digging deep, and so Dreams to Live For helped financially, and we absolutely would not have been able to have our wedding without the help from Dreams to Live For.
And I know that Dreams to Live For, you contacted a lot of charities, but we were the ones that, Louise and her team were the one that called you straight back and said, we'll make this happen. So
Yes.
well done, Louise and your team.
Yes.
So I suppose we can say to you now, or you can say to our 400 guests, that QR code's pretty important, because you've lived the dream.
Yes.
You've lived the Dreams to Live For dream.
Yes, and I think there's lots of cancer support services out there, and they're all doing fantastic work for lots of really sick people. At the time for me, I've only just recently stopped working, so as someone who was quite young, was still working, had a partner working full-time, unfortunately I didn't seem to tick many of the boxes to get many of the support services that were available. So I can categorically say that Dreams to Live For is the one that has actually come through with offering any kind of support, and the fact that it was such practical, tangible support that made something like our wedding be able to happen is just, it's made such a positive impact that it's just priceless.
Well, we'll keep thinking of you, all of us, and
Yes.
keep fighting the good fight.
Yes.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please thank Anne.